Right, there we go. Okay, how are we all doing? Um, I know that you probably all woke up this morning and the first thought in your head was, oh, I live in Dublin. Dublin is a bay. I wonder what a bay is. And there are two sides to Dublin Bay. We have Howth and Bray. And you're thinking, oh, it's Howth Head and Bray Head. These are headlands. And then, of course, you went, I wonder why this is a bay and these are headlands. Well, it's your lucky day, because we're going to talk about bays and headlands. And I might just get rid of myself for the moment because I feel like I'm a bit of a distraction. Alright, let's get going. So, we are doing features of erosion. We have done our first feature of erosion, which is a cliff, and the second feature of erosion that we're going to look at are bays and headlands. And Dublin Bay, Howth Head and Bray Head are probably the best local examples that we have of those. So a bay is basically, I was going to make a really bad joke there about what a bay is, as in BAE, but I can't even do it to myself or to you. So a bay, in geographical terms, is an indent in the coastline that's usually found between two headlands. And as I mentioned multiple times already, Dublin Bay is a good example of that. So it's an indent, it's where the coastline goes in. Headland then is the opposite. This is the area coast that just juts out into the sea. So a good example of a headland there, and they normally have cliffs on either side of them. So we have to be able to talk about how these actually formed. So the headland, area coast that juts out into the sea. The bay is the indent along the coast, usually found between two headlands. Now, they are formed by something called differential erosion. So the four types of erosion still apply: hydraulic action, abrasion, compressed air and solution. But those types of erosion affect rock differently. So they erode hard rock slower than they erode soft rock. Or if you want to reverse that, soft rock erodes faster than hard rock. So if you take this as being the original coastline, the green is hard rock, the orange is soft rock. I think you know what's about to happen here. Because of differential erosion, soft rock gets eroded quicker than the hard rock. Now, the type of erosion that can be occurring can be any of those four that we've discussed. So it can be solution, it can be abrasion, compressed air, hydraulic action, or a combination of any of those. Generally, when we talk about soft or less resistant rock, we're talking about what category of rocks? Yes, sedimentary rocks. So limestone being a good example. And when we're talking about harder, more resistant rocks, then we're discussing rocks like metamorphic rocks, quartzite, or igneous rocks like granite. So these rocks get eroded at a slower rate than these rocks. This sticks out to form a headland. This gets eroded inwards to form a bay. Now, when you're talking about the four different processes of erosion, hydraulic action, abrasion, solution and compressed air, don't forget that you need to be able to describe them in a couple of SRPs. And here's another way of looking at this. So soft rock, differential erosion occurs, and differential erosion will be any of those four types or a combination of them, forming a bay, and eventually then this piece of rock is left jutting out. Now this rock is eroded. Okay, so the harder rock, it's not that it doesn't get eroded, it does get eroded, but it's just eroded at a much slower rate over time. If we have a look at some OS maps here, here we have two headlands and a bay in between, and you can see them on the map. Headland, headland, bay in between. And if we have a look at the geology here, we can see that this is made up of hard rocks and this is made up of soft rocks. And this is true for anywhere that there's bays or headlands. Now, eventually what's going to happen, let's go back here to this one, is that when the bay becomes deep enough, it becomes sheltered. And by the time the waves get in there, they're lower energy waves, so they tend to deposit rather than erode. So do you remember we talked about wave refraction? So wave refraction will be concentrated at the headlands because the headland is jutting out. So the waves will be caused to bend in around the headland because these waves are going at a slower pace. The other waves continue on into the bay, but when the bay becomes deep enough, then erosion stops. And because it becomes sheltered by the two headlands, you might get a beach forming in there because there's constructive waves. So basically, when the bay becomes deeper, wave refraction means that the bays will bend towards the headland, and this is where erosion will be focused. And this will cause things like sea caves, sea arches, and we'll talk about those after we do this one. And then a beach will form in there because low energy waves continue in towards the bay, and these are constructive and they cause material to be left behind. And when we come to do beaches, that'll make a little bit more sense over time. So coming back to this image here, some of the best bays and headlands are found in the southwest of Ireland, which is the province of Munster. We know Munster because we have talked about Munster Ridge and Valley. So you will then know that there are anticlines of sandstone and there are synclines of